That has him to 1. So that is better. Okay. That should be it. That should be game. Oh, Rite of Negation. I didn't even think of that. Ooh, that's problematic. Problematic, to say the least. Hey everyone, Raptor Spank here, and today we have On the Grind, a show where I cover a deck I'm playing in Ranked. We'll break down the deck, cover some flex spots, talk about some basic mulligans, and then we'll put it through some ranked matches and review how we do afterwards. So what am I playing this week? What spicy new deck, based on all of the sweet new things in the expansion, am I playing? A deck that has not a single card from the new expansion, but I just can't help it. It's TF Fizz Fizzlusives. A lot of people have been complaining about this deck. Good reason. It's absolutely stupid broken. I definitely expect it to get nerfed, which is kind of the reason we're playing it right now, because I don't think this deck will be around by the end of the season. So I kind of want to play it now because A, Fizz is my favorite champion, so I want to get mastery points on him now, and this is a competitive Fizz deck, so it's the perfect way to get mastery points on him. And B, because I just don't want to take as long to hit Masters this time around as I did before, so I'm just going to play the broken deck. It's an aggro deck. I love aggro decks. I love Fizz. It's just a match made in heaven because this is a super aggressive Fizz deck that just happens to have a really, really broken Twisted Fate package in it as well. The big name of the game is playing a number of elusives like Fizz or Daring Poros or Zap Sprayfin, and eventually getting to the point that you're just dropping Burblefish for free because we have a ton of spells to cast. But essentially play some sort of elusive, buff it with Suit Up or something like that, deal a ton of damage. We have a bunch of burn to close it out as well, but primarily our main win condition is just killing them with a bunch of flyers. But we do have TF as a backup, and we can level him in a single turn to two turns at the most. So that's just another great backup of, at least, even if it's not winning us the game, just making sure our opponent can't win the game. So yeah, it's just a really brutal aggro deck with a lot of really broken things in it. So let's start with the champion package. This starts with 3 copies of Fizz. Fizz is just one of the best pound for pound 1 costs in the game. We have some 0 cost spells, so we can even protect him on turn 1 or give him elusive on turn 1 potentially, depending on the matchup. But just in general, he's a really good aggro piece. Do not overthink the Fizz in this. Fizz plus Suit Up is super broken because Fizz can protect himself constantly, so that is really, really good. But we're not really a Fizz deck. We're an elusive aggro deck with some burn spells, and if anything, we're more built around Twisted Fate than we are specifically around Fizz. Do not be afraid to trade Fizz into things. That's just the best advice I can give you, is that you shouldn't be too safe with Fizz. We're an aggro deck. We're fine trading Fizz. If that's how it's going to be, that's how it's going to be. Do it just to get that extra damage in. I mean, don't be foolish with him. Don't swing him into stuff that can block on the ground when you could get him elusive instead or something like that. But if they have elusive blockers, don't be afraid to force them to trade with Fizz. And even his champion spell's actually not that bad. Chum the Water's pretty rare. I think I've cast it once in maybe 20 games. But it can randomly be very, very strong. But otherwise, it's great discard fodder for things like Get Excited or Rummage. But then Fizz's Playful Trickster, I've cast a couple more times than that. Still pretty rare, but getting an extra attack in as an aggro deck can be really devastating for our opponent. So definitely don't undersell what that can do. But it does have a number of problems with it. It's a bit expensive, and if they don't block, then you're going to get the damage through, so you'd have to cast it first, and that can be problematic, but it can steal you games out of nowhere, potentially. And then we have the aforementioned 3 copies of Twisted Fate. Twisted Fate's absolutely broken. He's one of the most broken champions in the game. He has been for a long time. He probably will be until they do some serious nerfing or just straight up delete him. But until that happens, we are broken with him. We can level him up legitimately in a single turn, and if we are taking more than 2 turns to level him up, things are not going well for us. But just in general, he's going to give us constant value by dealing 1 damage to the opponent's Nexus, stunning their best thing, and drawing his card every single turn. Essentially, because we should have lots of ways to trigger him, particularly even at burst speed, and then just in general, when we're constantly drawing through our deck, we should see him consistently, and we should level him up consistently as well. And then he's just a great catch-all card. The red card can be really great against aggro. Blue card's great for just ensuring you level him up as fast as possible. And gold card can deal with a lot of huge single threat decks, like Videx, for example, is a great example of one that gold card is pretty brutal against. So that's the basic idea. His champion spell, obviously phenomenal, especially since you can turn 4, play a Twisted Fate, have 3 mana banked, cast the champion spell with a second Twisted Fate to shuffle a card in, draw 3 cards. We have 3 copies of Pick a Card, so his champion spell being Pick a Card is just insane for the deck. It's great. It draws us a bunch of cards. And the best part is, even if you don't have a Twisted Fate, so if you Twisted Fate Pick a Card, and then they kill your Twisted Fate, our deck just loves to draw cards anyways, so it's not that big of a loss. Now let's talk about the follower package. This is a pretty small package, but we have 3 copies of Ballistic Bot. This just generates constant damage, constant value every turn, and it's just really good for the deck for a lot of subtle reasons. And that's Ignition is great for making Fizz Elusive. It's also great for getting to a very early Burblefish, because this is a 1-cost spell that you're going to get constantly every turn, and it's just going to be chipping our opponent's Nexus down slowly but surely. You almost never attack with Ballistic Bot. It's really just here to keep giving you this Ignition value, and there's a bunch of ways to get even more value out of it by pitching it to like a Poro Cannon to get Daring Poros, or shuffling it into the deck with a Pick a Card or something like that if you don't want to lose what else is in your hand. It's just a lot of good value we can get out of Ignition, so it's super powerful. Even if Ballistic Bot never does a single point of damage to your opponent's Nexus itself, it just sits there constantly generating value and just outvaluing your opponent. And then we have 3 copies of Zap Sprayfin. This is just another really great value card. It's a 2 health elusive, which is pretty big against a lot of the Withering Whale decks that are out there right now that can be bad for our other units. Zap Sprayfin gets past that with its 2 health. It also draws us a card, which helps level up Twisted Fate. And it does draw us a spell, which costs 3 or less, which can get us a lot of value. We do have a lot of good things. Now, we do have a lot of things that can hit, but we do have pretty much a ton of uses for all that stuff. So it can be very, very, very powerful for us. And then he's just elusive, so he's a good threat on his own from that respect. And then probably the biggest card in the deck, the 3 copies of Wiggly Burblefish. This is just insanely powerful. It's a 3/1 with elusive, and it reduces its cost by 1 every time you cast a spell. You're going to usually be paying 2 mana or less for this, and 9 out of 10 times you'll be paying 0 for this, and it gives you another card in hand. Sometimes those cards are really powerful. It can grab you things like Rummage, which can be phenomenal. It can grab you Parlay, which can get you that extra point of damage to kill your opponent. Or just get you some random fodder that you just pitch to Rummage or Get Excited or anything like that to get even more value out of it. So it's just super powerful card. And there's some spells that can make this super busted. But we'll talk about that more in the spell package. And in fact, let's just talk about that right now, starting with 3 copies of Poro Cannon. This is another one of our threats. This is how we have more threats than our follower package and champion package would suggest. Poro Cannon actually gets us a lot of damage, especially since it can get us a Daring Poro on turn 1. They're elusive, so it's hard for our opponent to deal with. Yes, they are easy to kill, but it just gets us off to the races pretty quickly, and it gives us a lot of great card advantage, which is good for feeding into things like the 3 copies of Rummage. If you're really desperately in the tank and need to draw a lot of cards, you Daring Poro, discard 1 card, get 2 Daring Poros, just discard both of those to Rummage, draw new cards. And just in general, Rummage is a big part of how we can level up Twisted Fate so fast. It draws us 2 cards for 1 mana. That's incredibly easy for us to do and incredibly powerful. Even more powerful when you combine it with the next card, which is 3 copies of Stress Testing. It can either remove Fleeting from cards in hand, which we have a lot of things like Pick a Card that will draw us Fleeting cards, and we just have a lot of cards that get Fleeting anyways with things like Ignition. So being able to remove Fleeting is actually really, really strong. Or you can discard it and draw 1 Fleeting, which is how you just get crazy Twisted Fate turns. If you have Rummage plus Stress Testing plus Pick a Card, with a TF out, you are leveling up next turn. You just pick a card, shuffle that in, you play the TF, you draw 3 plus 4 for turn, you do rummage, you pitch stress testing, draw an extra card. It gets out of control so quickly. And again, it's not even that high of a risk, because if you draw another stress testing, you just cast it. Now all those fleeting cards are permanent cards. It's just super powerful in the deck. I messed around with this when it first came out and hadn't quite settled on a list that I really, really liked. This list uses stress testing to the fullest. It's super broken. One of the most broken cards in the deck. And then we have the card I mentioned that's great with Burblefish, 3 copies of Iterative Improvement. This is insanely good in our deck for a number of reasons. You can get a 2/2 Daring Poro. You'd be surprised how relevant that can be. You can get another Ballistic Bot with 1 more health, so it's even harder to kill, that continues to generate you ignitions every turn. Or, best of all, you can use it on a Burblefish. Now you have a 0-cost Burblefish that has 4 power and 2 health. Really, really broken. Really, really good. Just all sorts of good for our deck. Everything we want it to be, and it's burst speed, so it's great at turning Elusive on for Fizz before you swing. And you'd be surprised how often you just steal something of your opponent's and get a lot of value out of it. I've won games off stealing someone's Kindly Tavern Keeper, essentially. And then we have 3 copies of Mystic Shot, just great removal and burn. It can go Nexus, so it's never a dead card, and there's a lot of things that can die to Mystic Shot, and it's very cheap, so it doesn't really cost us that much to do. And now, 3 copies of Get Excited. Previous versions of the deck ran less of these. I definitely love running all 3 copies, because this really is what makes burn a threat for your opponent, because this is a lot of damage for fairly cheap. We have so many things we can discard to this to make it not even a concern, and it just does a ton of damage to your opponent's Nexus very quickly, so it's incredibly powerful. And then we have 3 copies of Pick a Card. I mentioned it's in the deck. Draws us a bunch of cards. Goes really great with stuff like Suit Up, where we can find it and it'll be cheaper. But just in general, super fast TF level up. Great for finding burn or things like that. When you're almost out of the tank, you just refill your hand and you're pretty guaranteed to kill your opponent then. Then we have 3 copies of Suit Up, already mentioned. Card's super powerful. We can often get it for 2 costs. Use it on something like a Fizz, and your opponent is definitely in bad shape, because you can constantly cast spells to protect Fizz, so it's going to be incredibly hard for them to kill that Fizz. So really, really strong there, but even just strong using on any Elusive, especially if you don't think your opponent can kill your other threats, and you just have, like, say, a Fizz, a Daring Poro, and, like, a Zap Sprayfin, and you're like, okay, I don't think they have anything other than Withering Wail. Then you can use Suit Up on the Daring Poro, and even if they have Withering Wail, all your things will live, all your things will hit them, you'll do a ton of damage. It's awesome. And finally, the spiciest card in the deck, but it is really, really good. It's less good now, I think, than it used to be, although I do see some people going up to 2 copies, so maybe I'm wrong on that one, but Mind Meld, it's crazy. I have gotten 3 16/16 Elusives off this on this patch. Really brutal sometimes for your opponent. Very hard to deal with at times. It's great into the mid-range decks, where being elusive is really good. If we can get a lot of elusives and then cast Mind Meld, they usually can't do anything about it, and you're going to kill them. It's less of a concern now that Banner Scouts is a lot less seen, but really, really great ace in the hole card that just randomly kills your opponent out of nowhere. So very strong. I'm still only running 1. I still think that's the best play, but it is a very solid card. And then let's talk about some of the flex spots. Now, this is a weird thing to talk about, but I mentioned that I think this deck won't be around at the end of the season, because I imagine it's going to get hit with a lot of nerfs, because it's doing incredibly well and it's super overpowered. So if those nerfs hit TF, and this deck could still have a future, I've seen versions of the deck run Teemo, and it's Teemo Fizz usually. Definitely not better than Twisted Fate right now. They'd have to really, really kill Twisted Fate for Teemo to be a better option, but super aggressive. It's another 1-mana elusive that they basically have to kill, because it's going to do a ton of damage really quick if they don't. You might want to go up a little more Mushroom Synergy, but honestly, he's still on just fine as like a 1/1 elusive for 1. You can get a Suit Up onto him. That can be really, really brutal as well. If you find another one, you can get that Mushroom Cloud. So yeah, there's a lot of things you can do with him. Not as good as Twisted Fate right now anyways, but I could see it shifting a little bit, and I could see this archetype essentially getting a little bit of a new breath of fresh air if Twisted Fate gets hit pretty hard. but it's really only something I'm mentioning because of the fact that I do expect nerfs. So, what's some of the more legitimate stuff that I've been seeing people do? Old versions of the deck ran Pool Shark. I've still seen occasionally some people running Pool Shark. For the most part, Pool Shark died to give us stress testing, so it's a little bit hard to get Pool Shark into the list without really hurting the deck, so I personally don't run it, but it is something you could still consider. And I mean, a 1-2 is actually pretty good into stuff like the aggro matchups and things like that. So it's not bad. It's just not as good as stress testing. So that's kind of what has cost it. I've seen a lot more people play Zonite Urchin lately. I personally don't like it. I don't really agree with it. We do have a decent number of things we can discard, but generally speaking, we still only really have ignitions and stress testings that we're going to happily discard. Everything else we're going to kind of want some value out of, and Urchin dies very easy, so I can sort of see people doing it as like additional rummages to really guarantee you get that turn 5 Twisted Fate level up, but personally I'm not a huge fan of it. And then if nerfs come and hit things hard, I could see stuff like Neandroid making a return. Last time I covered this, we were running one of Neandroid, or I think we were after the deck guide, but a one of Neandroid can be really strong. We have a lot of created cards between Ignition and Poro Cannon, so we can make it fairly sizable, fairly quick. And the important thing is 3 health makes it pretty hard to deal with. It's definitely looks better into the current meta when we're seeing a lot of stuff like Withering Wail and Blighted Ravine and the deal 1 to everything, because those do not kill Neandroid on their own. So they're going to need more to actually deal with that Neandroid. So I could see this coming into the meta a little bit more. Probably one of the cards here alongside Zonite Urchin that I would really expect the most out of. But speaking of Blighted Ravine, another thing that I could think of adding is Aftershock. It's something I've thought about myself. Probably would replace Get Exciteds at that point. The big downside being that it's not fast, it's slow, but it can hit everything that Get Excited can. You can hit a enemy unit, you can hit your opponent's Nexus, so it can still go face, so it'll be useful or usable in every single matchup, but it can destroy a landmark. Why am I talking about that? Blighted Ravine. Blighted Ravine is so brutal for our deck. Everything in our deck dies to Blighted Ravine except Ballistic Bot. Blighted Ravine is the end-all, be-all of our deck. It just absolutely shreds us. So, I could consider, if we start seeing a lot more Lysandra Trundle, running 1 to 2 of Aftershock, just so that there's an answer for that Blighted Ravine, because if you can answer the Blighted Ravine, things are going to be a lot better for you in that matchup. So that is another thing that I'm really kind of big on considering, because fast speed is not quite as important as it used to be. There's still definitely games you win by being able to cast that Get Excited during your opponent's attack before they kill you. But Aftershock does catch that big blowout with Blighted Ravine, and it'll randomly mess with a number of other decks as well. And then something that used to get played in the past, I don't think it's great, because your units are fairly fragile, so they can die fairly easily. But 3 mana to pump something for 4 damage with Rising Spell Force, pretty powerful in the right situations. You can just blow up your opponent out of nowhere with something like this. It's just hard to get off with it without putting yourself really at risk. So that's why I'm not really running it myself, but it's something to at least keep in mind, especially if nerfs come in and stuff like pick a card or anything like that starts to go down in value. Alright, and then now talking about some basic mulligans, you generally want to be fairly aggressive. I'll mulligan pretty much any Wiggly Burblefish in my opener. I don't really want to see it. I almost never want to see something like Mind Meld in my opener. Always mulligan a suit up. You can't cast it on turn 1, so it doesn't matter. Mulligan it. Hopefully you find it on turn 2 or a later turn in some way. I'll keep Twisted Fate. It's a very greedy keep, but it really hasn't gotten punished much because of how broken it is. I will keep like a Twisted Fate plus pick a card plus stress testing or rummage, something like that. Just because it's so broken if you use it right, and you can draw so many cards off it. So I will keep something like that often. I'll almost always keep a turn 1 Fizz. I'll especially keep a turn 1 Poro Cannon. particularly both of them, because then Poro Cannon can protect the Fizz, and a lot of your opponents will think that you don't have it and will try to fight over that Fizz on turn 1, so you can randomly blow out one of their best removal spells by having that Poro Cannon. But generally speaking, just try to be aggressive, try to really run your opponent down best you can into things like other aggro decks. You're going to get a lot more value out of Ballistic Bot, you're going to get a lot of value out of removal. Twisted Fate can be really, really good, but otherwise just try to run them down fast as you can. Poro Cannon is great because that gives you a lot of cheap blockers. And then just in general, the elusive damage is going to be hard for most aggro decks to deal with, so you should be able to get damage in and then block. So keep in mind that that's really great for aggro. Against mid-range, lots of good value elusives is great here. Burblefish will get you a lot of value. Probably wouldn't keep it in the beginning. If you can level up Twisted Fate without it dying, it will absolutely stomp the matchup. Because of the stuns, because of the red cards, it's just crazy powerful. Otherwise, things like Mystic Shot can be really good. If it's a Aphelios, Mystic Shot is great now that it can kill Aphelios. Otherwise, some sort of removal is just really optimal. Things like Get Excited, Mystic Shot. Suit Up can be really good if they're going to rely on like single combat and trading with something. You can always pump it with Suit Up so it no longer trades. And then just in general, just try to get a big elusive board and swing for lethal. Mind Meld is great into the decks that can't counter Mind Meld or kill all of your units in response. And then finally for control, real simple, go fast, hit hard. Early Suit Ups are great. They will make things a lot harder for your opponent, but just in general, play as many elusives as you can, run them down as fast as you can so that hopefully you can close out the game with your removal. Things like Pick a Card will be great because you can draw a bunch of cards, so once they start running you out of resources, you can draw even more, and that does make it even more likely that you'll find your removal or things like Suit Up to make your stuff harder for them to deal with. And that's the deck for this episode. So if you like the deck, you can find a deck code in the description below as well as a deck link. And now let's jump into some ranked matches and see how we do. Okay, well. Well, that's the better Aphelios. The Aphelios TF rather than Zoe. Not particularly thrilled to be facing this matchup a second time. Definitely pitch that. Stress testing plus Rummage is very good if we can get a Twisted Fate out, but I think honestly we just pitch this whole hand and hope for something better. That is a little bit better. Is that worth it? I don't know if it is. It might be though. Okay. Yeah, I mean I can do that. Losing an iterative's unfortunate, but not the worst case scenario. Snake? Snake's probably his best pick here. Wow, he gave up a Bastion. We might be able to punish that. We'll see though. That's fine. Now, do we just open swing or do we iterative first? No, let's not open swing. Let's play the other Daring Poro. He had Snake and didn't use it. Weird. Very weird. Well, I'm glad we didn't go for the iterative play then. Oh, he just did it for flipping the Aphelios? Is that really the best he had? That seems wild. That he didn't have anything better than that? Now, unfortunately, we can't kill the Aphelios yet. Suit Ups? Not bad. Yeah, that's fine. Is it worth trying to kill that? I wonder. Oh, this is risky. This is risky, but we're gonna go for it. No, of course he does. They always have every perfect card. They're never unlucky, that's for sure. Alright, well. Pick a card, flush that. See what we can find off the top. Okay, that's actually not bad.
Oh boy, here I go.
Man, so many pick a cards. So we pick a card, shuffle in another pick a card.
We were peaceful once.
Flesh was weak, but look at me now.
Great. I love how even though he hasn't actually phased anything yet, or like that this is his first cast of it, so it hasn't phased anything, it actually already created something in hand. I do still think, I stand by my statements, TF, or not, well, TF is bad for the game, but Aphelios is a terrible thing that should never have been added to the game. He makes Targon way too good at things that it's not supposed to be good at. Okay, well Fizz is gonna die next turn, but we're at least putting a ton of damage in. And we are gonna draw a bunch of new cards. Losing Iterative does kinda suck though. I didn't even see what he phased. I didn't actually look. Severum? Okay. Okay, so I can TF blue card, TF, like pick a card, shuffle in Mystic Shot. But we wait till our opponent swings. Because we don't want to lose the TF. Yep, that's fine.
From darkness, light.
I could have fought over that with the Mystic Shot, but I don't actually think it's worth it. I think our best chance is going for this fast level TF.
Face your feelings.
Ooh, you wee scruff.
Yeah, that's fine. Get rid of that. What did he phase with Severum? Gravitum. Okay, not a problem. Blue card.
Deal me in.
I don't think that he should have any way to kill this Twisted Fate this turn. At least the addition of Calibrum hasn't broken Targon so much that it can kill champions. It can just kill all of my units. Yep. So I'm at 1, so it'll be 2 next turn, plus the 3 gets it to 5. Should be fairly easy to level up this Twisted Fate. That seems like such a waste of a Gravitum. I mean, maybe that's just me, but that seems like such a waste of a Gravitum.
We must walk it.
Yeah, fast leveled Aphelios, but is what it is. We can still technically kill this with one of these Get Exciteds, and we may in fact go for that. At least he hasn't found Veiled Temple yet. That's kind of unfortunate. Although, if we're gonna have pick a card anyways, maybe not that big a deal.
Let me at him.
See what our opponent does, because Zap Sprayfin plus pick a card is really strong, but so is pick a card plus Get Excited killing Aphelios. Actually, Zap Sprayfin is a lot worse if he's going to phase Calibrum. So he has Crescendum, and he's going to phase Calibrum.
Crescendo.
Okay, so things we can do. We're going to shuffle this in, swing with Fizz, see what he goes for. Probably going to try to kill this Aphelios regardless.
I'm always up for a round or two.
Okay. Let's go for it. See what he has. We lose our Fizz, but we level up our TF, and that's what matters more. Okay. He's going to be close to leveling up his TF too, but we can also kill TF with this. And it's going to be a lot easier to kill TF with Get Excited than it will be to kill Aphelios. Also, if we fire off a bunch of spells rapid fire, we can stun this.
Looks like I'm on a hot streak.
We can stun the Boxopus if he goes straight in. Okay, that's pretty sweet, actually. We'll play... Actually, do we want to play Burblefish? Play Mystic Shot, targeting TF. And blue card.
Soak it in.
Perfect. Perfect. We were actually a little bit risky there because we weren't going to be able to cast enough. Okay. That's fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to cast this. And then we're going to cast... Yeah. Alright, sweet. Hate that deck, but lined up well for us there. We caught them sleeping. We were able to kill important units at the right time, despite that being an insanely great start for our opponent. The only thing they were missing for a perfect run was that Veiled Temple until the last possible moment. So, yeah, pretty good. We found our answers, killed their TF, leveled up our TF. Perfect game for us, despite how bad it looked. Okay, Fizzlusives and Super Mastery. Interesting. How are you still in Platinum with that much mastery? That is a scary concept. I know I said that about the last one I played against, and he had less mastery points, but that is scary. Oh no. Oh no, I'm going to be in the same position I put my opponent in, aren't I? I mean, he doesn't have Jury Rig. This deck does not run Jury Rig. I was very scared, though, for a second, that they did, in fact, have Jury Rig. Not the best hand I've ever had, to be honest. Yeah, I think we just swing. Uh-oh. Now, I've seen a TF bait before, and that's what this is. But, red card TF killing these two, not the worst. Really isn't. That's cocky. That right there, that's cocky. And I will happily punish him for it. I really want to use this, but I don't think that's actually smart. I really don't know what he's doing.
Deal me in.
Okay.
Soak it in.
Alright, let's play Zap and see if we get a Mystic Shot. It is a non-zero possibility.
Hey, Zap. Need a hand? Can't say no to Fizz.
That, however, is not that. He's gonna be close. Okay, that is very good for us. That is ideal, as they say. How close are we to leveling up? Not supremely close. This is probably a bad idea to keep, but I feel like this is gonna steal me a game. Nope, there's our TF. There's several of our TFs. Oh, we kept the stress testing. I forgot about that. I forgot that we kept stress testing.
Stacking the
That could randomly win me this game. See what he does. Oh, perfect. Okay. Let's blue card here. Draw a card. So then I can draw 1, 2, 3. 3. He's gonna be at... That's 4. Yeah, we gotta go for this. We're gonna level up instantly. Never mind, that is just the best play possible for us. Okay, well. Things we can do here. How close is he? Very close. So I can do 7 damage here, which has him dead through several ways. So, drop stress testing, drop zap. Draw cards, level up TF. Yeah, he's just dead.
I guess you can win them all.
I'm trying to think what he could really do here to live. And I don't think the answer is many things. This is lethal right here, though. Holy crap. So, he'd have to level up TF, then cast more things. That's doable. I suppose that is doable. So that's the level up.
Looks like I'm on a hot streak.
How many burst speed things does he have is the question. He could pretty easily kill this. This could steal this game. That's still on the table. One burble fish. Okay. I forget. Will this... I don't know that I can actually counter a gold card with Fizz. I'm not sure that it works that way. So that'll put him to 4 health if he gold cards Fizz. Or no, this has him to 4 health. Right. So if he gold cards Fizz, he's at 8 health. Okay. Things we can do here. So I can rally and keep my Twisted Fate alive? Oh, he has Get Excited on Twisted Fate? I didn't even notice that. So I do that. Then I can get 2 damage in, get 5 damage in, 5 damage. Potentially, is this being too sneaky? Is this being too sneaky? Because if I don't do this, he goes to 8. But I can't actually kill him off of 8. Okay. I think this is our best play. As weird as this is. I think this is my best play. I think I have a distinct chance to kill my opponent here. So I need to do many things this turn. And then I can't gold card, but that shouldn't be a problem.
Hold it, partner.
Or actually, I did gold card. I was not paying attention at all. And then these Twisted Fate are real Twisted Fates. Rally. Stuns that. Takes 2. Down to 7. Draws a card. Goes up to 2 mana.
I'll be right back.
This has him very low. But I lose to Get Excited, which sucks. A lot. Unless magically this Wiggly Burblefish creates a stress testing. Which I guess is technically possible. I would say it's probably unlikely, but it is possible. If he like Mystic Shots my Fizz, I'm just gonna laugh. He's not going to, I don't think. That would be really crazy. Okay, leveled up Fizz. And he has Ignition to give him Elusive, correct? No, he does not. Death Ray is actually funny. Won't work. It doesn't do good things for us, but it is funny. Copy that. Play that. Stress testing? No. That's a shame. Do I do this? Do I do this? I could kill that or play something else. See how many purple fish he has. Stress testing? Okay. So he takes 5 here. That has him alive. That does have him living.
No fear.
But Mystic Shot is lethal now. I am at a high health point, but I don't know what he's holding. Well, that is game. Well, we'll play Twist of Fate.
Back at the table.
Alright, and we kill him. GG. We win. No life gain in Piltover Bilgewater. I can't believe we won by that much. 19 to -1. Holy crap. That's wild. Did not expect to do that well. We will absolutely 100% take that though. Okay. I'm gonna guess that's ephemerals. Hard to say. Weird to not run at least some number of Heckrams, but suppose that's not the craziest thing. I really like this hand, actually. It might be kind of hard for them to kill a Twisted Fate. Kind of need to get started early here. So I'm gonna pitch this Zap. I mean, there's no point to keeping Twisted Fate if I'm gonna get rid of either of these, so I'll take the 2. That's not a problem. That was mostly to dissuade Dunekeeper attacking, so we didn't take the 4 this turn. Okay, well, yeah, we'll play Ballistic Bot. I'm guessing this is Ephemeral aggro since it's starting on Dunekeeper, but that is hard to say. And if that is the case, this Twisted Fate is going to be a lot better. This Twisted Fate could be pretty strong.
There you are.
Safety disengaged.
Okay. Really not that scary. We take 4, but could be much worse. I mean, I know it's an aggro deck, so them getting to do a ton of damage is bad for us, but so I want a red card. But blue card's arguably the best play for me here.
Deal me in.
I also want a suit up, but let's see what he does. Let's see if he can kill this Twisted Fate. That looks like a no.
Lady Luck is smiling.
See if he takes it. No, he did. Well, I guess I'd rather use pick a card than Twisted Fate pick a card, because this way I do have a backup Twisted Fate. I should be able to level him up next turn. Because I draw 4 up to 5, then that levels him up right here. Let's see if he just goes straight to combat. Okay, well I guess I cast for this rummage. I guess we pitch stress testing, and I can lose this Daring Poro. Draw some more cards. Oh, Lord. That's brutal.
I guess you can win.
That's extraordinarily brutal, in fact. I mean, this Phantom Prankster is going to do a ton of damage to us. Don't get me wrong.
Here I go.
That's the big downside, is that this is going to absolutely shred us.
Soak it in.
Okay. Okay. That kind of sucks. But shouldn't be that big of a problem. Do this, red card, that'll kill all those things. We're gonna get burned a bunch, then it's going to create the 4-3. But that's fine because we can stun the 4-3 and trade with the other thing. Wow, he's gonna burn us a second time? Ooh. That's gross. That is very gross. Well, that gets to lethal very quick. He's not quite there, but that does get scary very fast. Would I rather suit up? Or would I rather... Twisted Fate pick a card? Definitely willing to trade here, though. That... And then we will cycle in a suit up. Stun the 4-3, level up the Fizz, get a bunch of free burble fish, and we are in relatively good shape to kill our opponent next turn. Or shortly, I should say. We get burned for another point, then we play the burble fish. I suppose if he has Withering Wail, that really sucks. Okay, so I think we rummage, pitch these two stress testing to see what we can find, and then we iterative on this to red card. We'll go to 5. So this is 3, 6, 9 plus 4. 9 plus 4. 13. 13 plus 3. 16. Plus the extra suit up damage is lethal, I think. Okay. Okay. I think this is pretty... I think this is pretty lethal.
Hold it, partner.
Arise.
Okay, I think he's dead regardless. GG. Yeah, lethal. Perfect. Woo! What a turn! 17-0, baby. 17-0. Ooh, that was scary though. That was real scary. Woo! Alright, we take that. 100%. Huh. Lucian MF Banner Scouts. That could be scary. That can definitely be scary. Twisted Fate. Probably not great here. He can be good, but I'm kind of afraid that he's just gonna die pretty easy. Well, this hand is pretty bad. Well, let's not mince words. This hand is terrible. Absolutely horrible. So, not looking good. I'll tell you that much. Especially not when they're starting off with action. Do I copy that? Just to have something?
I have been sent by the king himself.
No, we kill that. I think. Yeah. Yep, we kill that. Reduce the damage we're taking. This might have to be a Twisted Fate game. We might not have a choice. Twisted Fate may be our only option. But he does die to basically everything very easily. And nothing in our hand is particularly great. I mean, we have the stress testing, so if we draw a rummage, suddenly we're in the money with this TF. But I wouldn't necessarily say we were particularly likely. Grizzled Ranger would definitely suck.
I've got your back.
That sucks less.
Get bloody, get paid.
Hmm.
Time to make
So he swings. We kill this, which I think is our best play. We take a chunk, and we blue card with TF and hope we draw into action.
Never lost a fair game. Or played one. Blue as the Serpentine.
Okay, that's not awful. I mean, that does draw us a card. So we like drawing cards.
keep up, keep up.
Aw, shucks. That would have been a great spot for a rummage. Well, let's see what he goes for. See if he can kill this Twist of Fate.
Through the coral.
I feel like this is an obvious don't tap out moment. Because he's not doing anything with 5 mana. Concerted Strike would just be bad for us. Okay, what's our answer here? What do we prefer? Suit Up or Get Excited? I think Suit Up's probably the best answer. Because the Get Excited's probably going to be worth more to us in the long run. So if he, like, Sharp Sights,
Son of a.
then we're still fine. Oh, Lord. Well, that is very, very scary. We're close to leveling him up, but I don't think we're particularly likely to do it. I can copy Zap Sprayfin, I suppose. That would be kind of sick. Oh, I can actually use Porocan to draw a card. I kind of forgot about that.
Who's on top of the bounty board today?
Okay. Well, let's draw a card. Do we play that? I don't know that we do. And that's a regular pick a card. These are all regular pick a cards.
A symbol worth fighting
This is an interesting play. But it has the chance of my opponent being greedy. Because if this doesn't pull TF,
Time to make
but he probably will. He's probably smart, right? Looks like it. Looks like he's smart.
Fall to our standard.
Okay, so he's going to be smart. That's unfortunate for us, but certainly not game-ending. So we'll copy this, and just be sad pandas that are Twisted Fate died right before he would have leveled up. Then we're going to probably pick a card, shuffle. Shuffle the other pick a card in. And then we'll play Purple Fish. Mushroom Cloud. We're not particularly close to killing our opponent right now, but we are going to draw a bunch of cards. And some of these are pretty good cards. Okay. Fizz first. Levels up. We have the potential to do a fair amount of damage here. Because we can iterative this, Okay. Well, I'm gonna blue card then.
Me in.
Because blue card allows me to rummage as well. Okay. It's pretty solid. Copy that. Play that. So that's 8, 11 damage. That's a decent chunk. Oh wow, he's gonna take the full damage? That's wild. That's crazy. Why would you do that? I'm utterly baffled by that. Okay. Well, we will rummage, and we're gonna pitch Ye Be Warned and Chum the Waters, because Chum the Waters is not particularly great. Okay. Can I level him up this turn? I'm actually pretty close to leveling up this TF, which I think is kind of like a great example of how broken he is. Pitch that, pitch that. And then we play Zap and level him up. That's so busted. That's just wrong, man. Well, I think we managed to recover.
Looks like I'm on a hot streak.
But man, that is so broken. That's so broken that we could level up TF that quick. This deck absolutely needs to be nerfed. But until that happens, I guess we just play Mushroom Clouds, right? Oh, do I play Mushroom Clouds or do I play other things? Yeah, we play Mushroom Clouds. Blue card. Red card.
Something for all of you.
I guess I should have played a Daring Poro just to have an extra blocker.
Missed your chance to run.
I mean, it's not going to kill Twist of Fate. You can try.
And peace.
In the name of our land.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should be safe, right?
We live here.
And then just blast this one. Oh, wow, really?
Hold it, partner.
Is there something that should have obviously made that the case for me? I should have known that it was going to do that? Because I'm not sure what told me that that was going to happen. Well, things are not looking great for him off that one. So we're going to do this. Which unfortunately does... Yeah, that passed priority before I can actually mind meld. But we are definitely going to mind meld there if our opponent let us. But yeah, they were definitely dead. I understand scooping at that point. That's shocking. That was a pretty bad hand. Like, we want to be aggressive in that matchup, and we had a very, very slow hand, but it didn't even matter. They even killed the first TF, and we still crushed it. That's crazy. Yeah, we'll take it, though. Alright, Thresh Nasus. This deck is a pretty hyped deck. Can we beat it? Ooh, we're not attacking turn 3, so that sucks. Okay. Okay, I like this. Okay, we're probably going to discard that Get Excited, but we'll see. We don't have to discard, necessarily, depending on what our opponent does. Ooh, Ballistic Pot's pretty sweet. Okay, okay, they're a little more aggressive. They have the Bukai Reaper. Okay. Neat. Neat.
Humanity is obsolete.
Yeah, it's fine. That was a questionable way to play it on my part, but I think it was worth it. Now the question is, do I sacrifice this ignition for Poro Cannon, or do I ignition? Yeah, that's fine. We can bank the full mana, lose one ignition. Not necessarily a problem. I'm assuming he has something like Withering Wail planned.
See what we see.
Yeah, let's stress testing here. Okay. Pitch this, pitch that. Yeah, okay. We'll play a Burblefish. Oh, I should have played this one. I don't know what I was thinking. Oh, that was actually pretty bad. That was pretty bad. Pretty bad indeed. Okay, I guess we'll parlay. But yeah, we're gonna lose this Wiggly Burble Fish. I don't know why. I don't know why I let that happen. That was just all bad on my part. That's getting scary. It's not quite scary yet, but getting there. Losing this Burble Fish though. All right, can't beat myself up about it. Yep, and I don't have anything to protect either because I cast the parlay. Yep, some pretty bad plays in general on our part. Yeah, and I lose this Burble Fish, so I can't even iterative it. Ooh. Oh man, I did not think through just how much I threw that. Okay, let's see what my opponent does. See what he tries to pull with Thresh. If he goes for the Ballistic Bot or if he goes for Fizz. Okay, he's gonna go for Fizz. Okay. So I think we eat this, we blast that. And then we play Fizz. Play Fizz, play Daring Poro. Okay. Well, there's a Burble Fish. I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, level up Fizz. Withering Wail, not super bad for me now. Still very bad for me, but not super bad. If he taps out, like he plays, what, Nasus maybe?
The soul wears away like grains of sand.
Okay. Well, I might be able to get away with these Burble Fish then. See what we get. Shakedown. Okay.
I'm ready.
That is a lot of damage. That is a lot of damage. I'm a little scared of this Thresh leveling up. I'll be honest, I am a little scared of that Thresh leveling up. Longtooth has 2 health now? Okay. That's pretty good. I mean, it is possible for me to potentially kill them with just burn. Oh lord.
Safety disengaged. Fire till nothing moves.
So he has to kill 2 more things before he attacks? Ooh.
Come this way.
Yeah, that won't work. He won't pull something. So that's the good news. But he is going to kill all of our stuff, probably. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. That's not that bad. I mean, it's not great either, but... It's certainly not the best thing to have ever happened to us. But... Okay. Go for this. Now, question is, do we want Shakedown or do we want Parlay? I think we want Parlay, so we pick a card, shuffle in Shakedown. Okay. Alright, shuffle some cards in. See how we do. On the redraw. I don't know how much removal they're packing. Usually the deck doesn't run a ton of removal, but yeah, still probably has some number. Okay, So we're definitely all in on drawing enough to kill them. That's what we're going to need. If we can kill this Thresh, that's great too. Okay. Okay. That's very doable.
Like a fish in water.
See what he has. Because this suit up is potentially very lethal. 2, so that gets us down to 5. Okay. Yes, this is fine. Go like that. See what he has. He's gonna need several things to live this turn. So, if I do this, and I kill his thing, that has him to 1. So that is better. Okay. That should be it. That should be game. Oh, Rite of Negation. I didn't even think of that. Ooh, that's problematic. Problematic, to say the least. Is Nasus lethal on his own? I don't know how much he slayed this turn. Probably a lot. That might have won our opponent the game. But we are pretty much doomed anyways at that point. Let's see what he does. If he plays something, we win the game. I'm pretty sure. We'll see. We'll see. He could have outs. He could have outs. He could have another right. Is that lethal? Alright. Let's see what he has. We did it! Oh, that was so close! That was so close! Oh, my lord. Oh. Oh, dear God. Oh, that's some Final Destination stuff right there, but... 0 to -10, but we win that. Oh, what a game. What an absolute game. That was an absolute banger. Oh, what a great way to hit plat 1. Alright, so how do we do in our matches? Well, second time in On the Grind history, 5-0, baby. 5-0 all the way. Did I use any bit of movie magic? Yes, I did use a little bit of movie magic. So, in my actual 5-0, I played Fizzlusives twice in a row, and I won both. And so, I decided to swap one of those Fizzlusive games for an Fizz TF game at the same ranking, because I wanted to show you more decks. The deck did, in fact, go 5-0. I am, in fact, a whopping 16-4 on the deck for an 80% win rate over 20 games, so deck is absolutely ludicrous. It had a 5-0 stretch, it had 2 2-0 stretches, and it had a fantastic 7-0 stretch at one point at the start of the season. The deck is insane. It's really, really good. I highly recommend it. There's a reason I'm playing it so much right now. It's just really, really broken. It definitely needs to be nerfed, especially after that Lucian Misfortune game. I don't think there's any more clear picture on how badly Twist of Fate needs to be nerfed. That was just stupid, frankly. Very stupid. So, what have we lost to? We're 0-1 against Trundle Lissandra. I actually expect that to be a pretty bad matchup. I think that's a solid thing to say. Suit Up's your best bet in that matchup, but things like Blighted Ravine and the deal 1 to everything is so brutal for Fizzlusives that I definitely think that that's just a bad matchup. I definitely think that deck will give Fizzlusives a struggle all the time, so I would actually expect to lose to that fairly frequently. I'm 1-1 against Swain Lissandra. That I feel like should be a good matchup. It's sketchy every time, it's very close, but the game I lost to the Swain lock, where they had they had Leviathan turn 8 and then turn 9 Swain, and that's what I died to. Because on turn 10, it stunned all my blockers and they swung and killed me. So the game is going really, really bad if our opponent's living that long. And it shouldn't really go that bad, actually. Because in the same sense that Fizzlusives was really good against Ezreal Draven and really good against the original Bilgewater TF Swain, those decks deal small amounts of damage, and if you can use things like Suit Up to buff things, especially to buff a Fizz, that can be so game over for them, because you can just keep countering anything they fire at the Fizz, and they'll never be able to do enough damage to kill it. So we didn't find Suit Up in the game we lost. I'm not even sure we found it in the game we won. So that matchup, I feel like would be better than the 1-1, but even still, 1-1, not bad by any means. Shurima, Shadow Isles, Nasus. Depends on how you want to count it. Technically speaking, we're 2-1 against the Shurima, Shadow Isles, Nasus shell. But one of those wins is against Mono Nasus, no Thresh. So 1-1 against Thresh Nasus, 2-1 against just Nasus shells in general. And if you want to just consider it the Shadow Isles Shurima shell, we're also 1-1 against Kindred. The game we lost was pretty ludicrous, though. They got super turbo leveled Kindred, and then they even managed to mark 2 targets in 1 turn. That's a thing that can happen, just to let you know. If they level up Kindred, they can mark a second time, so highly unfortunate. Didn't realize it was going to work that way, and I lost to that. So I think that was a little bit unusual and not exactly something you should expect to happen frequently. Sanfemerals 3-0. Not even close. All of those matches have been pretty easy. Probably the closest and scariest match I've had was the one that you saw in the video. That's probably the closest Sanfemerals has ever come to beating Fizzlusives in my experience. I'm trying to remember playing the opposite side of it, how that went. I feel like I beat Fizzlusives, but that must have been sketchy. My experience playing Fizzlusives into Sanfemerals, it's just not even close. It really isn't. 2-0 versus BT Aphelios. 2 different decks, to be fair. One is Zoe Aphelios, and the other one was Aphelios TF. Aphelios TF being the better one. I think that's the one you saw in the video. The Zoe one was actually pretty hype. So if you're interested in that, watch weekly highlights, because I'm probably going to showcase that one, because we had a pretty sweet mind meld in it. But I wanted to keep it roughly in the same ranking, so I went with the TF Aphelios, because that put it at the same rank to fit up the curve. And just in general, I think it was actually a better game than the Zoe one. The Zoe one was hype because of the mind meld, but I think the Aphelios TF was just a better gameplay game, where it was just a really, really close match, and I think both of us played it fairly well. So I think that was just a better one to include in general. All in all, deck's really solid. If you're looking to climb right now, abuse this deck. Just really, really do. I'm doing it for a number of reasons myself. I want to climb fairly quickly this season, if possible, so I can actually start working towards seasonal early. I'm not even sure I'd be able to do the seasonal, but I kind of want to work towards it anyways as a goal. And I just like to hit Masters a lot quicker than I have the last 2 seasons. I've really had to drag my feet because of real life stuff, so it would be great to get that done pretty quick. And then, most importantly of all, Fizz is my favorite champion. He is in League of Legends. He's my highest mastery champion in League. I'd love for him to be my highest mastery champion in lore as well, and I know that this is really the best opportunity I'm going to have to get that mastery on him and get him to that point, because chances are that deck's getting nerfed, and when it does, it will probably fall out of the meta. We'll see for sure, but there's a good chance it'll fall off the meta, so this is really my best opportunity to get Fizz to Mastery, so I've been grinding it, trying to get there. So 20 games in, I'll put even more in by meta check, so we have a nice little update here. This is a very different version, well, not a very different version, it's a different version from the one I was playing last time I did a deck guide, because obviously there's no Pool Sharks anymore, there's no Jagged Butcher, there's Stress Testing, which is really, really good. So yeah, really fun deck. Best deck to grind with right now. I highly recommend it. Your games are going to be fairly quick, and it's just really good against most other decks. It's very broken, and honestly, you should just use it to your advantage as well. So, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment below, and subscribe for more videos just like it.